Sky Squad, we are back in the building on this good Saturday, and we got to talk a little bit of Real Housewives of Atlanta news. Okay, so Ralph is addressing the gay rumors. We're about to put this situation to bed, or are we? We're going to discuss that, but before we do that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell button, and join the texting community at 202-918-3386 so I can send you a message every time a new video drops. Okay. So for this video, we're actually going to take things over to the Jasmine brand. Okay. Side note, we will be going live tomorrow night on Instagram to discuss the Real Housewives of Atlanta, the latest episode, and break it all down. And you don't want to miss out on that. We'll be going live, I believe, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be sure to check us out. But speaking of Real Housewives of Atlanta and Ralph and these rumors, these were addressed on Candy's latest episode of Speak On It, where Shamia actually interviews the husbands of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. So you have Shamia interviewing Ralph, Todd, and Ross. I'm thinking he goes by Ross and not Aaron, but you guys know who I'm talking about. That's Sonya's husband. And I did watch the entire thing. Once I saw this clip, and then I said, let me watch the entire thing for, context and to get an understanding of, what each husband feels about the franchise and their reactions to some of the stories and whatnot. And the part that really, I guess, stood out that was really made into a big public spectacle on the show was this notion that the assistant allegedly told Sheree's friend that Ralph was gay. So we're going to address what was said, and then we're going to address the reality of the situation. Okay. So to give you guys perspective, since this clip is placed on YouTube, I'm going to kind of go over and review exactly what was said, and we'll discuss it as we either read through it or afterwards. So Shamia says, well, they definitely came for you, talking to Ralph, at this tea party. It was thrown out there that you were gay. So Ralph kind of chuckles a bit, and then he says, right. And so Shamia says, well, that had to hurt. And so Ralph says, like Todd just said, people will say anything. It's like they need a storyline. Everybody needs something to say. And I don't know. It's like, which one is it? I got all these different things with me. Like I'm cheating or I'm doing this. Now I'm gay. And then he just kind of shrugs or whatever. And so Todd says, and that's like the only way. It's like, I can't get you. I can't make you mad. Oh, he's gay. So Ralph says, next they're going to tell me I'm a lesbian. And then they all kind of laugh. So Shamia says, so they brought up Portia's baby's daddy, Dennis, and were kind of hinting that you two got a thing going on, basically talking about Ralph and Dennis. And Todd is like, whoa, I missed that part. Shamia says, oh, yeah. And then to Ralph, she says, you remember that. Did you see that? And Ralph says, I know they pulled a picture. She said it was in his phone, but they was talking about the assistant being messy, trying to say that's Dennis and that's Drew's baby daddy. But, actually the picture, we were at a club partying. So, I don't know. So Shamia says, well, what is he saying about that? I'm guessing she's talking about Dennis. And Shamia asks, well, did you talk to him? Ralph says, about what? Shamia says, this whole situation, them trying to say that it's a thing. Ralph, again, just shrugs and he says, it's just like, I don't know what to say about it because it is what it is. It's nothing. So, I don't really know. I don't know what to say about it. It's one of those things, like I said a second ago, people will just say anything. So So the key here that I'm taking away from it is he says, it's like, I don't know what to say about it because it is what it is. It's nothing. So I'm assuming the it's nothing means that that's just him saying that that's just Dennis's bro and they hanging out. So then Todd says, yeah, stop that ish. And then Ralph says, cut that ish out. And then Shamia says, stop saying what? Todd says, making ish up. My thing is, if y'all want to do ish, y'all have y'all little receipts. I guess he's talking about the cast. That's cool. But for the women that's just making stuff up, it's like, come on, man. It's like the guys can't even say anything back. Like if I came back like, yeah, B, you, da, 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 Shamia then finishes and says, yeah, it's like he's in the girl's business. Shamia then goes on to say, I do think it's unfair that men can't have bonding moments or spend time without being associated as being gay. I think that's unfortunate. Okay, so I guess a couple of things to address. Number one, I feel like, first things first, the idea, as I stated before, of sort of weaponizing someone's husband as being gay is so old and played out on this show. It just, I've already made my feelings known about that. And there's nothing wrong with someone being gay. Let me just also state that, because I kind of feel like, particularly in the Black community, that's often used as a way to minimize someone's masculinity in some way, shape, or form. And I think that that's an antiquated way of thinking. Number two, I think that there needs to be to address a couple of things. First things first, the only person that Ralph actually has to address about his sexuality in general is the person that he is married to or in relation with. I think that is personally the only person that needs to know anything about another person's sexuality is the person that person is with. That's number one. It is not the world's business. That's my feeling on it. Number two, I think that again, you guys know how I feel about the accusation of being kind of lazy and whack, because I just feel like it's played out. Number three, I feel like there's an issue here where everyone is overlooking, and that is, if you are on a television show like this and your name is constantly in the headlines and in the spotlight and you're on the world stage, when you hire an assistant, it's probably best that your assistant signs an NDA, because at that point you are running a household where, if also too there are issues within the marriage that are playing out on the screen, then that means I'm assuming those issues are real. I would be hiring an assistant that has signed a non-disclosure agreement, because I would not want my issues to be spread out into the street. And that goes for both Sheree and Drew. Because ultimately what they are alleging is that the assistant is going back and forth and spreading the business. Well, if your assistant has signed an NDA, there would be potential legal repercussions for spreading that business. For instance, what we don't ever see is any of Candy's people running back to another housewife or to the general public spreading their business, or you don't hear of any of those allegations, because my assumption is that everyone who works for her in some way, shape, or form has signed an NDA, I would assume, okay? Especially if you are a celebrity. That would be the most obvious thing to do. So I don't understand why this situation is even an issue in the first place, because you wouldn't have anybody's business spread out there in the streets if the assistant has signed an NDA, excuse me. So that's my second thing that I feel like we're overlooking here. Like, all kinds of boundary lines are allegedly being crossed, and no one is addressing the elephant in the room, which is the blatant, element of privacy being allegedly put out there. And I have to say alleged because all of this is being placed on the assistant. And then I also would have to say, too, if I am the assistant, this is just me. I'm there to do my job, right? And I think that there has to be a line of delineation when you are hiring somebody, and that, okay, is this my friend or is this my assistant, right? And if you are friends that are assistants, then for me as the assistant, if I'm just somebody that you just hired, then what is going on in your marriage, I have nothing to do with. Okay, I'm here to you give me your weekly tasks, and I'm here to do them. Okay, and that's it. And make sure I get paid. Okay. Now, if you ain't paying the people, now that's a reason that an assistant might go around telling people that I ain't get paid when I work for so and so. So I want to make sure that you're gonna pay me. Okay. But again, NDAs, people, NDAs. And the last thing that I want to address is, if you look in the comment section, the comments are in a shambles. They are in a shambles. The first comment says, quote, "No, I'm not gay." See how easy that was, with people addressing whether or not, why he didn't just come out and say, "No, I'm not gay." Because that would have also been easy. But again, as I stated in my earlier statement, a person doesn't really have to do that or not. I mean, that's really nobody else's business but his or Drew's. The question on the table is what we see on the screen happening, and the sort of blatant disrespect that I feel like we see on the screen. That's the only thing that I can really talk about at length, because we can see that with our own eyes. Okay. So those are the things that we need to really keep the discussion on. But I can understand why the comment was made, because he could easily simply say, "No, I'm not." But again, the other side to that is, a person doesn't have to disclose their sexuality if they don't want to, out to anybody outside of the person they are actually doing sexual relations with. Now, to address something that Todd said about, the guys can't even say anything back, because if they came back like, "Yeah, B, yeah, you da 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 da," I do think that there is something to be said for, um, if the women bring a husband into a situation, I do believe that the man has a right to defend himself. But I think that that defense can be done in a way that's respectful. And in particular, I think that the situation with Ralph and the accusation of being gay needs to be managed between Ralph, Drew, and the assistant, because whether or not Sheree said it, or whether or not it was announced by Sheree's friend, they're saying the accusation came from the assistant. So it ain't even a situation where Ralph has to address the women. But I would definitely, I would definitely address the assistant, because that's addressing the thing man to man. Okay, that's how I would handle the situation if it were me. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I gave you guys a lot of what I think about this, but you know what? The more important thing is what you guys think about it. I'm very interested in hearing what you guys think. And for the record, I'm just going to go on record and state, I don't think that Ralph is gay. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay. I don't get that vibe from him. I just get that Ralph oftentimes is really on camera. I don't think that he understands how he's coming across. And I also think too that he doesn't do the best job of explaining himself. And I also think that there are some definite gaslighting issues that go on with the interaction that we see on camera between he and Drew. And I think that's the real issue that needs to be addressed and dealt with. But anyway, those are my thoughts. You guys let me know yours down in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next video.